So I'd like to say hello to Professor Tim Leiner, who is a radiologist at the University Medical Center at Utrecht in the Netherlands. Hello, Dr. Leiner.
Good morning, Julie.
Thank you very much for joining me today. Now, you are a radiologist, as I've already mentioned, and you choose to focus on studying imaging of the cardiovascular system. What led you down that path?
Well, the reason why I chose this subject is because it's cardiovascular disease is of course very interesting, and the heart is quite a challenge with MRI to depict it nicely. But it's also still the #1 killer in the world, cardiovascular disease. So a lot of things come together that make it very interesting. And if you can use MRI techniques like I try to do to recognize cardiovascular disease at an earlier stage, you can make a big impact for patients.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, you've been very busy and you've submitted a lot of work, and your group is presenting several of their abstracts, but you've got a couple of sunrise sessions as well at the meeting as well for all the early birds. What will you be telling us about and talking about at those?
The sunrise sessions. They are, one of them is about trying to improve throughput with fast imaging techniques in cardiovascular MRI. So how can we speed up the imaging protocols we have right now? Because in all honesty, cardiac and vascular MRI exams still take too long, in my opinion. So I'll share some of our results and techniques to optimize throughput and to get quicker scans, which is also more comfortable for patients. My second sunrise session is about an exciting development in contrast agents, in the sense that the contrast agents we use now, they leak out of the blood very rapidly. In about 1.5 minutes, half of the contrast agent is gone. But there are a couple of contrast agents that remain longer in the circulation, which allow for very interesting imaging opportunities, especially on the venous side, as well as more general imaging of the cardiovascular system, where you're interested in both the arterial and the venous system. And that's the topic of the second sunrise session.
And that's on Tuesday and Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning.
Correct, yeah.
So what will you be working on in the future?
Well, I think what I mentioned earlier is that there's a great need for improved speed in cardiovascular imaging. And if we compare this, for instance, with CT imaging of the cardiovascular system, they've been tremendously successful over the past decade or so because of several hardware innovations that allow for very rapid imaging. And it is my dream that we achieve the same efficiency with MRI. And one of the things we're going to be working on in Utrecht in the next couple of years is building a new coil that we can use to speed up cardiovascular MR. And we aim for about 1 order of magnitude faster scanning. So about 10 times faster compared to today. Which would bring cardiac MR in the same acquisition domain in terms of time compared to CT. And of course, MRI offers a lot of other advantages, such as no radiation and the ability to get multiple different contrasts, which is completely lacking with other imaging modalities.
Absolutely.
But MRI, unfortunately, is not used as much as it should be because it simply takes too long at present. A study of the heart can take up to an hour or so, which is basically incompatible with the big demand.
Well, that's something to look forward to. Now, we're talking today because of our use of social media. So why do you use social media, and what do you get out of it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And what I want to get out of social media, and do get out of social media, is first of all, you meet people that that you otherwise wouldn't meet. That can be, instrumental to advancing the research agenda that you have. And you can work on common topics and discover common interests that you would otherwise simply, wouldn't find. And I also think it's very important to share what you do as a scientist with a broader community. So I think everywhere patients are being more involved in choosing research topics and allocation of grant funding. And I think, therefore, it's very important that you share, let's say, not only with your peers, but also with people who are a little bit further away from what you do as a researcher, that you show to them why it is important what you do. And so this is what I try to get out of social media.
And you would encourage others to use it as well, I imagine? Yeah,
definitely. I think that, as a researcher, if you want to do something that's impactful for patients, it's a very important pathway to follow, and a channel to share your results and to share your plans. So I think it's very important. And you can learn from other people who are working on the same topic that you would otherwise not meet.
Absolutely. Well, Professor Leiner, thank you very much for joining me this morning for your pre-ISMRM flash interview, and I look forward to seeing you in Singapore.
Yeah, you're most welcome, Julie.
Thank
See you there.